Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we have our first look in the Tier 4 French battleship, the Bretagne. Now, I'll be real honest, I like this ship a lot. I know it seems like every single episode I say that, but as long as I'm in battleships, generally speaking, I'm gonna like the ship. Because I like battleships. It's what I do. It's what I'm good at. So anyway, before we get started, we have the exact same commander as we had in the previous ship, the Corbeil. So we don't need to go too crazy on him. I'm not going to go through all of his perks. I'm just going to kind of show them to you guys. If you need to, you can pause, check them out, read them if you need to, or you can check out the previous video where I explained all that already. But I'm going to show you guys the stats real quick. And note that it is fully upgraded. And, of course, I'm running the same aiming systems mod 1, which gives me the 7% dispersion and also the buffs to the secondaries. Now, moving on, we have survivability has 41,700 hit points, which is right on par. Artillery, it has 340mm guns, which is less than most of the other battleships at this tier, but this is the size of the gun from here on out. I don't believe they get any bigger. I think 340mm is it. From here on out, that's how big they're going to be. But instead of having 12 guns, you only get 10. But the 10 guns, one of them is mounted central on the center of the ship and can pivot off both sides, so you don't really lose any firepower, really. But that being said, with the perks and everything, we've got the firing range up to 16.6 kilometers, which is nice. We have the reload at 29.7 seconds, which is nice. The maximum HE damage is 4,700 with 26% chance to start fires, and the maximum AP shell damage is 10,070. Now, this thing's got some serious secondaries on it. It's got 8 100mm guns on either, or 4 on either side, which I believe are just 2 separate turrets that are dual turrets, which is why it says 4x2, because, duh, I'm an idiot. Anyway, moving down to the secondary, the second secondary, you got 22 guns at 139mm. That's not bad. It's not 150mm, but, you know, still, that's solid. Bigger than destroyer guns, and you got 22 of them. 11 on either side, and as you saw, they're oscillating turrets. I'll show you those in a second, because I forgot to mention them when we were there. But still, nice little stats there. AA defense, again, doesn't matter in console, because currently no carriers, so doesn't really do anything. The maneuverability, 19.5 knots, so we're a little slower than the Corbeil was. But, even though this is slower, it actually is pretty nice. The only big issue that I've run into with this is the Iron Duke tends to ruin it if it's firing AP. But the Iron Duke's got very good armor piercing for its, tier. Most of the other ships I haven't had too much trouble with, but the Iron Duke, if it's bow tanking, can be a little bit of a trouble, as you'll see in the video. Also, the video is going to have some nice teaching points, and by teaching points I mean there's really one teaching point, but I'll show you. Concealment. It's a battleship. 14.5 kilometers by sea, 10.8 by air, 2 kilometer maximum or guaranteed acquisition, which is, if I'm in a behind a island or something and you're sneaking up on me, if you get within 2 kilometers, you're going to know I'm there. Then detectability while firing in smoke, 11.2 kilometers. It doesn't do you a whole lot of good. So, let's go to the commander. I'll show you real quick. Again, I'm not going to go over all the things. I'm just going to kind of look at them for you. Base trait. We've got flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, reaching out XXL, and of course we're not legendary, so we don't get any of these perks. And then our inspirations, Cunningham and Madden, both British commanders. So, hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully it's quick, and I will see you in the video. Alright, so the Bretagne. We're going to jump into battle here, and I'll be honest, this battle's not going to go to plan. Now, I always hate this map. North is not my map. It just isn't. I'm not a big fan. And that's mainly because it just always ends poorly for me, it seems like. I've had some decent matches on it, but generally speaking, this map ends up a pile of failure for me. And it's not always my fault. Or maybe it is. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below. But I'm going to do everything I can to win this site. My teammates are going to do everything they can to lose the match. And that's why I kind of posted this one. Now, yes, it is a good little showcase of what this ship is, so that's good for you. But there's some teaching points in this that I think that everybody should learn. And that is, not everybody that is talking on a microphone that you obviously are able to hear because you end up commenting after the fact that you die is just a prick. Okay? Now, I'll be real honest. I get salty sometimes. You guys know this. Everybody pretty much knows this. This is not one of those times. I promise. I was being as, like, straightforward. I know I'm at low tiers. Like, I understand that not everybody knows. That's why I wasn't being salty. I was literally just going, hey, man, you know, guys, we have things. I'll go over it once we get there. Let's get down to the fight. Now, right off the bat, our Farragut, I believe it was Farragut, goes straight out to A. It's not the worst thing in the world, but there are 4 destroyers on this map. I'm already detected. I can't see them, which generally means it's probably a destroyer. And look, an Emil, cruiser. Okay, firing the guns. Now, I'm not going to lie. I completely screwed this first shot up because that's a pretty fast little cruiser. And it was coming mostly towards us. But you can see our Farragut is right in the middle of the fight, and there are a lot of guys against him. Now, don't get me wrong, the Farragut's a very capable ship. It is fully capable of just absolutely decimating other cruisers with that DPM that it has. Other cruisers, other destroyers, and also cruisers with that DPM, like the Emil. If he loads AP and gets a broadside shot on that Emil, there is a very real possibility he could kill that Emil before the Emil could kill him. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what happens. Now, I'm focusing my fire towards the battleship at the moment, and maybe that was the wrong thing to do. But he's shooting at me, which means he's the threat to me at this moment. So I'm trying to focus the battleship, and as you can see, I started to sail in reverse the moment I realized we're outnumbered. Now, if you look, we're no longer outnumbered. We see 2 destroyers, we've seen a cruiser, and we've seen an Iron Duke. That's what we've seen so far. That's 4 ships, and we have 2 destroyers, a cruiser, and me. So that's 4 versus 4. That's a pretty even match. Now, the Emil I was about to fire on, and I realized, okay, well, he's going to get torped. And luckily, I hadn't gotten loaded yet. So I was able to, once I got loaded, fire off at the Iron Duke again. And that's when things start to go wrong. While the Emil is down, that is a good thing. We've already lost one of our destroyers. And unfortunately, we're about to lose a second. And our cruiser is kind of down for the count as well. So just like that, we lose 3 ships on this side, and they lose 1, which means it is now, at minimum, a 3v4. But, wait, there's more! There was a Bairn spotted across the other side of the map on the other side of the mountain. That Bairn makes it 4 versus 1. And just like that, I am now 100% isolated. There's not a whole lot I can do here. Oh, wait! Hello! There's a destroyer there and a Nuremberg. That's not preferable. So now we got the odds of 6 to 1. That's not good. In my favor, to be honest. But luckily Nuremberg goes down. We waste 2 shots at him. But the Fubuki, on the other hand, we get shots off at. And this thing is very capable of absolutely wrecking destroyers. Even with armor piercing, this thing has a nasty tendency to hurt destroyers. Luckily, most of the guys that were over here are low health because they got into that big fight too. They came out on the winning end. Now, we already hit the T-22 once, and the T-22 is pulling up, and he's going to get a full broadside. Now, as long as I aim this shot properly and he doesn't do anything stupid like dodge, that should be all she wrote. And down he goes, giving us our first kill. Now, they've lost the Nuremberg, they've lost the T-22, they've still got the Acasta out in front of me, they still got the Fubuki behind me, the team is dealing with the Fubuki, I have to start worrying about the Iron Duke and the Acasta. Oh, and the Baron, because the Baron is still firing at me over the mountain, because of course he would. He's got good shots, and apparently, you know, he knows what he's doing a little bit, because he's not getting spotted back, and he's able to shoot me from behind cover. Not preferable, but it is what it is. Now, the Iron Duke and I are about to get into a fight. I fire the front guns at him, and I was contemplating not firing the rear guns, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead, swing out once he just fired at us. We'll swing the rear guns, and we'll get the rears involved as well. And that gives us 3 more guns to shoot. Well, I say 3. It's actually 6. So here comes 6 more rounds. And then immediately the Acasta pops up, and I'm like, oh crap. But luckily, we had already fired the front guns, so they're almost back up, and wait for it. Got him. Now, I misjudged my distance from that Acasta. I thought we were further apart, because I know that that Acasta doesn't have the longest range torpedoes in the world. Even though I know that, I started to turn away. However, I'm going to stop turning away, slightly, and he's going to catch me with one of the torpedoes, unfortunately. And it's going to go right up the prop shaft. It's not preferable, because it breaks your steering, causes flooding, because every freaking torpedo in history causes flood. I don't understand it. But, as you can see, we have gotten our butt whooped over here. We got 44,000 damage right now. We only have 6,300 health left. We're a long ways from being able to reload, or re-heal. So, I make the decision that I need to start trying to get all of my guns on this guy while he's giving me the side of his ship, because I don't expect to survive the next round. Because it's not bouncing anything from this Iron Duke, it's just letting him pin it. So I get the shots off, all the guns emptied, we managed to citadel him twice, which takes most of his health from him. Plus we got extra penetrations on that last part when we hit him, but didn't citadel him. So he has very little health left. Now notice what the team has done. The team has capped 2 out of the 3 bases. The game is tied, with the exception of the points right now. We are going to be gaining more points than the enemy. And we just sunk another ship, which means it is a 4 versus 3. It's about this point where I tell the team... Oh wait, this is the Königsberg. Yes, this is the Königsberg. I tell the Königsberg that Iron Duke has very little health. I citadeled him before he died. Königsberg had just captured B, and he pulls out broadside on to a British battleship. We know British battleships have, like, short fuse AP, and is very good at hurting cruisers, and just like that, you just lost all of your hit points. But you didn't lose all your hit points. You're still alive. You got 2,000 hit points left. You have an island between you and the only person that can possibly kill you at this very moment. So I am telling him, dude, we have a points lead, we have more caps. All you have to do is sit behind that island and not get shot. That's it. And I am not salty in the slightest when I say this, because I'm actually talking to him like a normal, conversation. And what does he do? He immediately pulls out right in front of the guy that just took all of his health and decides to go, hey, surely he can hit me. That sucks. Okay, so they gain the lead, and it's tied up as far as how many people are left. 2 battleships and a destroyer versus 2 battleships and a destroyer. Now, I am begging my team right now. Now, like, after that guy died, they took the slight lead, but we have the caps, so we are going to retake the lead. It's very close. The game is very close. And I'm telling the destroyer and the 2 battleships, guys, you have the lead. All you have to do is not do anything. Like, just don't let them cap their bases. That's it. And so, after saying that, I start watching these guys. And this Bairn is 2/3 of his health. Okay? The destroyer has battleships on the mind, which is fine as long as you don't get yourself detected. But the problem is going to be for the destroyer, these battleships know that you're shooting torpedoes at them. Okay? Which means you got to change up what you're doing, because they're going to be taking evasive maneuvers. Maybe switch to a widespread, but definitely do not get close to these guys. Now, here, he looks like he's got it in the bag. It's so perfectly placed, he's gonna get at least one hit, and one hit is all he needs to kill that Iron Duke, and wait for it. Yeah. No! No! And it was at this moment that I realized we're in trouble. Because he's launching torpedoes in narrow spreads at battleships that know that torpedoes are in the water. So they're taking evasive maneuvers. The likelihood that he sinks these battleships at this point, slim. Unless he starts changing what he's doing. But he's not. Their destroyer moves in to capture B, which is a great move for him. That allows his team to start gaining more points if he can capture it. Now, on his way to B, he managed to torp our Baron, and now is setting him on fire. That's a 1-2 punch that you cannot survive, because you used your damage control to put out flooding from the torpedoes you took while you were chasing a destroyer in a battleship. And now you're on fire, and now you're dead, because you have 1100 hit points, and you can't heal, and you don't have any way to put the fire out, so down you go. So now they take the lead, and they're capping 2 of the bases. Now, at this point, this destroyer should have completely disengaged the battleships and defended the base. He didn't do that. So they're going to get the cap on the second base. Now, our Iron Duke... what? I don't know. But at least he didn't go get himself killed. Again, not what you need to do in this situation. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, as Jingles puts it, is not ideal. You had the victory in the bag, and that's what I was telling my team as they were throwing the game away. I was like, guys, how can you guys completely ignore somebody who's being rational and just throw the game away? Now, obviously, I didn't do the most for the team. I only did 71,000 damage, but I got 2 kills. I managed to kill a couple of the destroyers and make it at least interesting on this side of the match. But everyone else had the game won. And then they just threw it away. Why? Because, I don't know, fill in the blank. The reason being is, I think everybody thinks that they can do more than they can, and I'm no stranger to this myself. You'll see me more often than not engage in, especially if I'm in a battleship, engage in a 1 versus 1, even though I have the game in hand, because I feel that I am much more capable of killing the other guy than the other guy is of killing me, because I've pretty good faith in my abilities in a 1v1. This wasn't a 1v1. At very minimum, this was a 1v2 between these 2 battleships and this destroyer. And he's hit 1 torpedo this entire time. 1. Just 1 on the Baron. Hasn't hit the Iron Duke, and he has not yet hit again the Baron. And he's not going to get his torps... Well, he'll get his torps loaded, but they'll never reach the target before he gets... before they win anyway. And the Mayhan took basically no damage, which means another reason why I just can't understand why that battleship was chasing him, because he obviously didn't hit him, or at least he only got 1 or 2 hits on him max with over penetrations. So why chase him? You know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You got yourself torped, you ended up burning to death, and you lost the match for us. All because of your ego. And I don't want to call anybody out. It's not about that. I understand people are new and don't know how to play the game yet. That's why we're at low tiers. But when somebody, and I get it, there are a lot of people that jump into chat, and I am one of them. I admit it. I am one of them that jumps into chat and says things that I shouldn't say sometimes. I get that. But in this particular match, nothing that I said was out of line. I wasn't irate. I wasn't angry. I was specifically just saying, guys, you have the win. Don't do anything stupid. That was basically the message that I was giving them. And yet they managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, leave a comment below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.